Picture the streets of LA, the sun blistering down on asphalt, the heat shimmering off cracked sidewalks, the distant wail of sirens, the laughter of children in the corners of alleyways. Singleton was born into that rhythm. In January of 1968, the son of a mortgage broker and a pharmaceutical sales executive whose marriage would not last. He grew up in the pulse of a city where survival was a constant negotiation, a dance with danger, a balancing act between ambition and circumstance. There's been many directors who have lived and died without making a single film. But this is to celebrate the life of John Singleton, who left this world at the age of 51, a man who dared to tell the stories of the streets, the struggles, the triumphs, and the tragedies of South Central Los Angeles. John would later recall the odd, haunting juxtaposition of youth and violence. Ice cream trucks rolling slowly through the streets, their bells tinkling a cheerful tune, and yet, for those paying close attention, it wasn't ice cream they was peddling. It was crack. That was Singleton's world, raw and unvarnished, a world he would capture with unflinching honesty. Even as a boy, he was gifted. By 8th grade, he was attending school in the Valley, surrounded by the manicured lawns of Encino and Tarzana. The wealth was dazzling, almost alien, but he did not turn away from the streets that shaped him. He carried them with him, committed to turning the textures, the voices, the smells of his neighborhood into art. He became, in every sense, an author of place. In 1986, he entered USC's film writing program, but he found it sterile, a cultural desert. Everybody wanted to get rich, but nobody wanted to work to get there, he would later say. And yet, the spark inside him refused to be dimmed. Inspired by Steven Spielberg, he shot his first films on a Super 8 camera, but he refused to imitate. He bypassed the conventional apprenticeship of the young filmmaker and instead honed a voice uniquely his own, sharp, fearless, unforgettable. Imagine Singleton at 21, wearing his large round glasses, an LA Dodgers jersey hanging loose on his frame, his mind buzzing with ideas, ambition crackling in the air around him. He finished the script of Boys in the Hood, a story of Trey, Doughboy, and Ricky, young men navigating the perilous streets of Crenshaw during an era of gang violence and police tension. A world alive with the scent of barbecue smoke, the distant gunshots echoing through concrete canyons, the laughter and heartbreak of youth. A few years later, interning at Columbia Pictures, Singleton sifted through scripts he thought were straight up booty, and yet fate intervened. His supervisor asked to read one of his scripts. She was impressed. She sent it to an agent at the Creative Arts Agency. Days later, John Singleton was signed. And just like that, the streets of South Central had a new storyteller, one who would show the world not only how people survive, but how they dream, hope, and fight to live. Now it's 1990 in South Central Los Angeles. The sun hangs heavy in the sky. The asphalt looks like street crack rocks turning into gold. Columbia Pictures has just bought the rights to a script called Boys in the Hood. But there's a catch. They don't want John Singleton to direct it. They offer him $100,000 just to step aside and keep quiet. And you know what he does? He refuses. He's 22 years old. 22. And he's about to start filming the story that would change everything. On the first day, hundreds of people gather along the streets, leaning on fences, sitting on car hoods, whispering to each other. The air is electric with curiosity and anticipation. And there's Singleton, glasses reflecting in the sunlight, Dodgers jersey slightly crumbled, commanding the scene. He shouts, "Action!" And suddenly every corner, every brick, every voice in South Central is alive. And when he finally yells, "Cut!" the crowd roars like the city itself is cheering. You can hear it, feel it, vibrating in your chest. He films the scenes in order, start to finish, a method almost unheard of in Hollywood. You can sense it in the way the shots evolve. The way his camera moves more daringly as the story reaches its tragic climax. And then there's the moment I'll never forget. Ricky, played by Morris Chestnut, the high school running back with dreams of college, lying in Doughboy's arms. Ice Cube and Trey's, Cuba Gooding Jr., as life drains away. The heartbreak, the loss, the raw pulse of South Central. It hits you like the first punch of a storm. Boys in the Hood isn't just a teen movie. It's an epic. It's a sociological mirror reflecting a city's pain and resilience. And it's a sculpted piece of art, the first masterwork of what would become the hip-hop film aesthetic. Released the summer before the LA riots, it captured disbelief, rage, and hope all at once. The success was staggering. A 20-minute standing ovation at Cannes. Singleton became the youngest filmmaker ever nominated for an Academy Award for directing. The critics called him the second coming of Orson Welles. But here's what was really legendary. He didn't sell out to Hollywood. He didn't let fame and opportunity dilute his vision. Instead, he built what you might call a black Rat Pack. Ice Cube, Chestnut, Gooding, Angela Bassett, Regina King, Lawrence Fishburne, Taraji P. Henson, all talent he discovered, nurtured, and elevated. Boys was just the first step. Singleton went on to craft a hood trilogy. Poetic Justice in 1993, a romantic drama starring Tupac and Janet Jackson, and Baby Boy in 2001, a story about a young father who refuses to grow up and the women who hold him accountable. He constructed what he would call a hood hyper-reality, a world intensified, magnified, yet undeniably true, expanding the Los Angeles film canon with each story. He loved literature too. August Wilson was his Chekhov. Zora Neale Hurston inspired him to codify the rhythms of black life, to respect vernacular, to honor truth. He spoke hip-hop like a native tongue, and his film examined men in crisis. Black, white, complicated, vulnerable. Think Remy in Higher Learning, the quiet engineer seduced by hate. Singleton made us see the danger, the seduction, and the humanity in the same frame. Even when he branched out, Rosewood, a historical fiction about a massacre in Florida in 1923. He explored the motivations that drive black men to protect themselves, to survive, to fight. Singleton questioned everything. He rarely judged. He imposed a moral compass, but one that left the room for the audience to wrestle with the consequences. Most of his films center on young black men, caught between duty and vengeance, and the women who weather their storms. In recent years, Singleton turned his eye to television, co-creating Snowfall, the FX series about the arrival of cocaine in Los Angeles in the 1980s. Directing episodes of The People vs. O.J. Simpson, Empire, and Billions. Through it all, he remained a guardian of black cinema, warning young filmmakers about the slavery zeitgeist of Hollywood, a system that wants black stories homogenized, soulless, and marketable. They want black people to be who they want them to be, not who they are. He said these words in 2014. Singleton died after a stroke, the result of long struggles with hypertension, a disease that disproportionately affects black men and women. He left behind his parents, 7 children, including Justice, named after Janet Jackson's character in Poetic Justice. And he left behind unfinished work, stories, dreams, a biography of Tupac, and countless what-ifs. But his legacy is monumental. From a kid in South Central to a filmmaker who reshaped cinema, John Singleton showed the world the power of truth, courage, and vision. He made the streets sing on screen, made pain poetic, and ambition feel righteous. And though he's gone, every time you watch Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, Baby Boy, or Snowfall, You can feel him there, camera in hand, shouting, "Action!" And the streets of Los Angeles and the world war with him.